The cameras have microphones on, so they'll pick you up. They're pretty good. All right, we are now live. You may begin.
All right. So our theory is the substitution theory, and the title of our book is Judas, the Mastermind Behind Christianity.
Speak up just a little bit.
Our theory is that in the garden, when Jesus was praying, they switched the real Jesus for a doppelganger. The doppelganger died on the cross instead of Jesus. The doppelganger was then put in the tomb. Judas faked his own death. Then he went to steal the body / switch it for the real Jesus. And while he was in the tomb, switching the body with the real Jesus, the women came. Judas got very nervous, so he said he was an angel. The real Jesus then appeared to the disciples, then Paul, James, the 500 other brothers, and they all convinced Judas and Jesus convinced them that he was raised from the dead. That's our theory.
What was the title of your book again?
The title of our book was Judas, the Mastermind Behind Christianity.
Okay. All right, objectors, do we have any questions? If you do, go get up and get behind the X. It's your turn to poke a hole in their theory. Oh, they've shot down the resurrection.
We won.
We win.
You won.
I'm convinced.
We won.
Any questions?
There's no such
There's
thing.
no
Okay,
There's no
well.
stupid questions.
Well, sometimes.
Okay.
Well, do I have to?
Someone from your ass to go.
Because it's not like an argument. I was just.
No, but I want you on film, Sam.
Yeah.
You still on film. That's
I had a question.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's how you get a point. The only way you can get a point is to get up there and see if they respond.
Don't let them win, kid. Let us win. Kid, let us win.
We're really fun. We don't want to lose or more.
Oh, you already knew.
Yeah, like,
I had a question about forgot.
Oh, you
I'm
did?
trying to think of questions. That's a
Oh,
solid
you
theory.
didn't? Okay.
Okay, wait. Who's getting up? All right, Ethan's
Go ahead.
How do you explain
getting
that?
up here. All right, hang on. All
Scars.
right, Ethan, you're just standing on the X. Okay, perfect. I got you in frame. All right.
The scars.
Alright, so we explained the scars. So first of all, it's not one of the 5 facts. And in John, what are you doing? Alright, so in John, one of the sources in the Bible, one of the books in the Bible, I did not write down which one, says that he had holes in his hands, and John said that he had scars. So I mean, what they could have done was to make it look like scars, they could have burnt themselves, possibly. Alright, that's our thing.
Point group. 1-0 group. Okay, stand on the X here. Okay, I got you in frame. All right.
Do I speak to them or do I look at the camera?
Just look to them because the camera's got you perfect.
Okay. How do you explain the sky being turned to darkness and the massive earthquake and the veil being torn?
It's not a fact. Anybody could have just written it down.
Huh?
If one of the disciples were to just say, or anybody that were writing it could have just said, well, I don't know.
It's not a fact by fact. Like, that's not a guaranteed fact. It just says Jesus died.
Because not every source has said that the sky was torn apart and that it turned to dark. Hold on.
Point group.
All he said
You said they,
Wait, hang on. Okay, now.
You said they switched Jesus?
Yes, for the doppelganger.
Jesus didn't die?
Jesus did not die.
I thought one of the five facts was that Jesus died.
Well, the real Jesus didn't die. So the doppelganger, they looked alike. So they could have lied, right? So the doppelganger, because you know, monks and Muslims, monks will set themselves on fire and they'll die horrible deaths. So if you were for their beliefs, so if they were able to convince the doppelganger that what they were doing was for the good, then the doppelganger would have died that horrible death for him.
Well, but the first fact says that Jesus died on the cross.
Yes.
Point class.
Yes, sir.
It's 2-1 group.
Come on, Kate. Come on.
Wait, hang on, Caitlin. Come step up just a little bit. Yep. Okay, perfect.
You said something before to him at the end. Can you repeat that? Like,
Okay, hang on. Stop, Caitlin. Hey, the rest of y'all are talking, and I need you not to while she's talking so we can hear it. All right, say yours again, Caitlin.
I just need you to repeat what you said to.
About the monks.
Yeah.
Okay,
and like
so-
a little bit, just kind of repeating.
Alright, so whenever they would have switched Jesus out for the guy that looked like Jesus, if they were able to convince the doppelganger that it was for good, that their cause was good, then he probably would have died a bad death, because monks, I mean, we saw in the video a while ago that they'll set themselves on fire and just to prove a point.
Yeah.
And Muslims will blow themselves up and kill a lot of people with them. So
How does that really prove that he was like switched out? Like he died. We know that, but how did they convince the person who was his doppelganger to do that unless there was some kind of like something to make him believe that happened?
He happily believed in his faith.
So you're
What'd you say?
saying that it's
He
just
happily
faith?
believed in his
So
faith.
that's the only answer you have is that it's just faith?
Trust, conviction.
Okay. Point class. 2 to 2. I need another. It's tied. It's 2 to 2.
are we allowed to try to point off of what they already said?
No, you need another objector. Need another objector.
I mean, I would object something stupid.
Come on, y'all are tied. Okay, Bird. Alright, wait, Bird. Hit the count X. Okay, you're in the camera shot. Okay, you may begin.
Okay, what was the doppelganger's name? Like, who was he?
It's not relevant
How's that not relevant?
because it's not one of the 5 facts. You don't need to have the doppelganger's name.
Okay, so with Paul's conversion, if Jesus appeared to him and he believed that, but it was somebody else, or how, like,
I mean, because they switched the body out. So like I said, whenever Judas was still in the body, Jesus was in there with him, right?
okay, so it was,
But so because they switched it out, Jesus pretended that he had risen, right?
okay,
So Jesus appeared to the 500 brothers, James, Paul, and he told all of them that he was risen. So if they were at the cross and they saw him dying, even though it was a doppelganger, I mean, probably blood from the crown of thorns and all that, right?
okay, wait, he ascended into heaven
That's not
after
a
the
fact.
That's not one of
resurrection.
the facts, though.
Point group.
Oh my gosh, oh, this is
Good job, thank you.
Alright, got Ethan coming back up. Now Ethan is the only, Ethan and Caitlin got a point. Okay, go ahead, Ethan.
So going back to the scars.
Mhm.
A burn scar is not the same as a stab wound. Do you think he convinced over 500 people from a burn scar?
Did he show every one of the 500 people that, oh, look at this scar, look at it very closely? Is that a scar
No.
from
You believe that James?
No, he didn't do
You
that.
believe that?
It's highly unlikely that he'd go around to every 500 people saying, look at this scar.
All right, hey,
Very close.
we're getting off track. Do you believe that he convinced Paul and James through a burn scar?
It's possible.
No.
No.
A burn scar is totally different.
That's just your personal
How do they
opinion.
know what the scar looks like?
That's not what we're doing.
Okay. Point
That's
class,
not a fact.
point group. It's 4 to 3 group.
Okay, let me shake it right here.
That's not.
So then, who was Jesus if he wasn't the Lord? Like,
Some
why
random
would he
person.
just switch? Well, then how does that?
What you say?
That just doesn't.
So, can you
He
repeat
was
your
just a
question?
random person. Like, how does that?
I mean, because
Like, why
Muhammad.
would he switch? Like, why wouldn't he just die then if he was?
I mean,
just
first of
a
all, it
random
could have started
person?
off as a joke, right? Oh, we're just gonna fool them. But once people actually started believing in it, they're like, oh, we could go a long ways with this. Well, let's try to see how many people we can fool.
And create a false religion.
Yeah. Muhammad kind of did that. Do you think he actually saw God? If there wasn't a God, then do you think Muhammad actually saw God? Because he created a false religion. If you Christians believe that that Muslims are wrong, and you think their religion is false, then that means Muhammad's wrong.
Well, yeah, but that's what that doesn't make like sense
Point
though.
group.
That just doesn't make sense as to why Jesus would do anything. Just hiding.
Going once. Anybody else?
Um,
Looks like Bird. She is okay. She is going for
You
it.
want to just throw yourself deeper into the ground?
that's why I'm not even speaking. All you can say is
Okay.
Okay. If Paul says that he saw Jesus as sin, but Jesus is not a God or he has no human power, then who did he see? What did he see?
That's just one source. That's just one person saying that. So is the 5-5 fact? Is that one of the facts saying that Paul saw him ascending into heaven? Is that one of the?
I just need clarification. Are you saying that how did Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul saw him, and you're trying to get an explanation from them what Paul actually saw, if not him.
One of
It's not him.
fact number 3 is the conversion of Paul. It's not saying that Paul saw Jesus ascend into heaven.
Simply says
Yeah.
that Jesus believes
Yeah.
that Jesus
He believes.
but there's no proof that Jesus actually did. There's no that in
One of
that
the
sense.
5 is that they believe in
Wait,
it.
you can't comment there. Point class.
What's the school?
It is 5-4. Y'all ought to try to figure out when I give points and when I don't, because I do have. It's not just random. I need somebody to try to tie. Oh, there's a 5-minute bell. So we got 2 minutes to try to tie it. The score is 5-4 group.
Okay, that makes it look good.
Again.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Bert.
Go. No, let's go.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Hang on, Bert. Okay.
Okay, so James is Jesus' brother. James would know what Jesus looks like. So if he were to appear to him after the crucifixion, he wouldn't just, he would know that.
See, our theory is that James and Mary and all of them could have possibly, that they were all in league together because they're family, right? And if they start off whenever they went in the tomb, let's say, we're going to say that James was in league with him because his brothers are like, hey, dude, I need you to do this to help me out. I mean, are you just going to abandon your family? Would you just completely just say, hey, no, you're done. I'm not going to believe you.
Point class. Oh, this could be the tiebreaker right here.
Great. What's the motive?
Motive?
Why did they do
For
it?
fun.
For fun?
Why would
You
Muhammad?
discredit an entire world religion for fun?
Yeah, why would Muhammad pick to do that? Pick to try to get people to.
I'm not arguing on Muhammad's motive. I'm arguing on this
No, I'm just
series motive.
He could have done it for any reason.
Point group. All right, we're out of time. Group wins 6-5. Good job. All right, go in. Y'all got 5 seconds to go say whatever you want on the camera. Go talk trash, whatever, any camera. 5 seconds. 5.
I'm surprised we won. Our argument was really dumb.
Yeah, we could have used this box.
All right, good job.